Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to today's webinar on building a career in corporate law. My name is Chetna Lal, and I head the industry interface and career advancement team at BITS Law School. Our mission at BITS Law is to develop responsible and resilient law professionals and build technology savvy and ethical future leaders. I would like to emphasize that our Career Advancement Office not only guides our own students, but also provides career guidance to aspiring law students. And today's seminar or webinar is especially for those students who see themselves as corporate lawyers working in tier 1 law firms. Let me start by introducing our first speaker, Ms. Anahita Pagdiwala. Anahita is Chief of Human Resources at AZB and Partners, a tier 1 and one of the most renowned law firms in the country. Anahita has 19 years of work experience in the field of business HR and employee relations. At AZB and Partners, she oversees all functions of HR, including advisory, operations, recruitment, and learning and development. She's instrumental in developing and implementing various policies in line with Indian legislation and conjunction with the firm's overall development plan. She ensures effective implementation of statutory compliances and HR initiatives practiced across the organization. Further, she also ensures that the business goals of the firm are met by getting the right talent onboarded and are retained for a longer duration. Her hobbies include exploring new places, getting to know various cultures, reading books, and adventure sports. So I'd like to welcome Anahita to this fireside chat. Welcome, Anahita. And the second speaker is Ms. Disha Adhikari. Disha is a senior associate with Shardul Amachan Mangaldas, a tier 1 and one of the most prestigious law firms in India. Disha's area of practice include disputes, arbitrations, and transactions pertaining to projects and project finances across urban infrastructure, ports, roadways, and energy sector. Disha regularly advises foreign and domestic investors, joint ventures, leading infrastructure developers, along with banks and financial institutions on several complex transactions concerning acquisition, financing arrangements, contractual disputes, claims and settlements of project contracts, along with providing other legal and advice in relation to the sector. So welcome, Disha, to today's fireside chat. Our third speaker is our own Deepu Krishna. Deepu heads the admissions and outreach team at BITS Law School. Deepu Krishna is National Law alumni and a gold medalist in LLM. He has a corporate lawyer post, which he ventured into academics and administration at some of the most prestigious universities. Before joining BITS Law, he has been very instrumental in promotion of legal education in the country and has taught and mentored thousands of students throughout his career. Welcome, Deepu. So let's start our discussion, and I would like to share about myself a bit. So I am also a lawyer, and before joining BITS Law School, I had been practicing for like 15 years, and I am very passionate about working with students. So I've joined this BITS Law School, and my time, it was very different. I passed out in 1994 when there was no IBC, there were not many law firms, there was no Information Technology Act, there was no internet, so things were very different. Now, now with new age lawyers, I think it's very different. And what do you think, Deepu? Is it now different from my older days?
Yeah, it keeps changing. That's what I have been observing. Right from your time to my time. I graduated in 2006, and I remember, law is one of those things which I would like to quote here. The great lawyer, Mr. Ram Jethmalani, in one of his lectures when he came to our campus, he had made an observation that once you take up law and you're doing law graduation, you remain a student for your life. So it was very, in a very uncanny manner. I remember, he was introducing himself that I've done this, done that, and at the end of it, he said, "I'm yet a student of law." And then his age was around 90, and then we all smiled, to which he said, "No, I was very serious about it, because once you take up law, you become a student for your life. You have to keep on reading, you have to keep yourself updated." And that was something which, personally, if you ask me, Chetna, I would say, yes, he was 100% right. One of the reasons behind it is, when you take up law, you have to be updated about not just your own profession or your own area of expertise, but also ancillary things. Why ancillary things? Because if you are dealing with a certain project, you never know how some other topic might be connected to it. So you have to not just read your own thing, you have to keep on reading everything else also. So today, just few hours before, I was in a panel where we were discussing about AI, and we were discussing about how lawyers, can be affected by the same. So there also I said the same thing, that lawyers have been using all these AIs and other tools for quite a long time. So I quoted how LexisNexis and Manu Patra were there. Now probably using AI, things can only just improve. But human mind is something which will always be supreme. And lawyers are the ones who deal with real life people. We deal with real life people. So whatever changes, lawyers have to be dynamic enough to change themselves using all those new techniques and new things which are coming up. So our IPC is also going to be changed, our CRPC is also going to be changed, but then nothing as usually changes. And like, if you have those skills which are very important for doing law, which is basically interpretation and comprehending and drafting, etc., then it becomes very easy for you. And that has been my experience, if you ask me. As a corporate lawyer for the first 2 years, that's exactly what I experienced. And today also, when I see my friends in our law school itself, and the other two great ladies we have here, they will also agree to it, that what all changes are happening, lawyers and law students have been flexible enough to adapt to that change, and that's what keeps us going. Yeah. That's my 2 cents on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Deepu. Now, my next question is to Disha. No, Disha is being a new age lawyer, and I think she could be able to tell us, like, so Disha, could you tell us about your journey as a student and then being a senior associate with a top law firm?
Hi everyone, I'll just introduce myself first. I'm Disha Adhikari. I'm currently a senior associate at Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, and I work with the project and infrastructure team. So my journey personally as a lawyer was rather very dynamic. I started off in law school liking litigation and arbitration a lot. So I actually did litigation the first 3 years after I passed out. Uh, Thereafter, I accidentally became a corporate lawyer, and now I happen to like it. And I've completed 3 years at SAM as well, and then I became a senior associate. So I think a couple of things. I think the first, we all tend to get very intimidated by the career law itself. I think we obviously need to focus on our academics and figure out the subject we like, but there's no requirement to be so hard on yourself. The first 3 years, I actually took up, I experimented a lot with my internships to figure out what exactly I like. Even in my time, I think there were so many options. Usually people think it's only litigation and general corporate, but if you actually, in real life, there are so many other things to explore. For example, say banking, labor, capital markets, so many niche things. So it's, I think, very important to figure out what you like by way of internships. So I started doing litigation first. I loved it and I still continue to love it. Then I shifted into corporate, and currently I do a mix of both, which is, I think, a one of a kind opportunity that I get in my current team. So yeah, my journey's been exciting, and currently I think I love what I'm doing. I don't know, maybe I'll shift later again. So that's my journey in short.
So, Anahita, my next question is to you. So, what are the trends that you've been seeing in the last 5 years? And what do you expect to see? Like, what are the changes that you expect to see in the coming future? Anahita? Is she on mute? Okay. I think she's not able to unmute herself. No problem. So my next question to you, Disha, would be, so as per BCI guidelines, law students are supposed to do 20 weeks of internship, right? And according to you, how important are internships in this, 5 years course?
So I think internships are very crucial, and I will take some time to actually structure this and explain. So how internships in my college was structured is that I was allowed to do 2 internships, I think, in a year. I'm not sure if the structure still remains the same. But there were a couple of things that internships, to answer your question first, are super important because that's where we figure what we're getting into in real life. Like I said, the first 3 years of law school, I think it's very important to do all sorts of internships. Now you have things like policy making, you have fellowships, you have NGOs, then you can intern at in-house places, you can intern at law firms, of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I think I got muted. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, sorry. So I don't know where you heard me till. So I was saying that internships are very important to explore your avenues. So these days you have things like, say, policy making, you have NGOs, you have in-house internships, etc. So it's very difficult to make a choice when you have so many. It's like, ordering your food in Swiggy. When you have so many options, you don't know what to do. So it's very important to go through all of them. And I think by the end of, say, 4th year, when you start doing more firm internships and you repeat your internships at the same place to figure out the place you like, it becomes very important. But before that, I think I wanted to share a couple of tips as regarding internship. I think a rookie mistake as students that we all make while we are all interning is that we tend to do mass applications. There's this anxiety of, oh my God, I'm not getting internships and my friends are. So people just like in mass apply to, say, tier ones or like whichever, to the senior councils, to judges for clerkships. And that's a rookie mistake because often we tend to forget that, you're applying at the same place, say a full service law firm for 2 teams, and that looks very embarrassing. It's very important to vet your internships, carefully craft your applications, understand who you're working for, figure out your team and do some sort of research and put in some thought into your application because I think once your application is in the database, it becomes very important to, make that impression. So internship application process is important. Uh, Feel free. I mean, whenever you go for, say, for example, moots, debates, etc., it's very important to network and figure out who you're applying to. So yeah, internships I think are very crucial when you're in law school.
Okay. So Anahita, would you like to add here something? Anahita?
I think she's dropped out. She's still trying to figure out why she's not able to use her mic and camera.
Okay. So, Disha, continuing on internships. So, is it good to intern at different places, as in various different fields, or is it good to practice or do internship in a particular field or a different different fields? So, what is your suggestion?
I think it's slightly difficult for most people to, like I said, decipher what you like right at the first go, because what you do from, say, the first year of law school, what you study in law school, it's not exactly what you will apply when you actually are working. You would know, I mean, Deepu mentioned that he was a corporate lawyer himself, so it's not like we learn how to draft a share purchase agreement when we are studying company law. So it becomes very difficult to figure out what you'd like to do. And I think it's you also become very tunnel vision thinking that this is what you want to do, and later when you actually start doing it, you wasted some time and opportunity and you don't like it. So it's very important to experiment at least the first 3 years, I would say, and understand your options before taking an informed decision to what you would like to do.
So at BITS Law School, we conduct a lot of skill enhancing programs, workshops for the students to make them industry ready. And so in this regard, do you have any suggestions as to what else we can add to our workshops or in order to make them industry ready?
I think industry ready is a very dangerous
We
phrase.
call it
I don't know if
readiness
I am industry ready.
we call it readiness at workplace,
I
and
mean, it's a great
a
initiative.
lot of
To,
trainings.
I wish I had an industry ready course when I was in college. But I think what would help, I mean, I think the curriculum that we had moot courts, which I found extremely this thing important. I personally am a huge fan of guest lectures because I think different people from different walks of life come and speak to you, and you get a different perspective as to what you would like. I still remember speaking to a senior counsel, Mr. Aditya Sondhi, who greatly influenced me to be industry ready for litigation, which is what I did for the first 3 years. And thereafter, I met my current partner, Deepto, who made me industry ready for, say, the corporate law sector. So I think I'm a huge fan of guest lectures. That apart, I think from a practical perspective, I think moods, debates, etc. are great. They help you overcome, say, stage fright. You acclimatize yourself to speak to the crowd at large, which is important, especially in litigation when you're arguing in a court, etc. For corporate, I think, say, conducting workshops or competitions where you're drafting agreements, etc., becomes important. Or having conversations about negotiation, etc. I think mediation, all of that is helpful.
So, we would like to understand the hiring process in Tier 1 law firms, because students have a lot of questions about when to apply for internships and what is the best time to apply and how is the process conducted. So, if you could throw a little light on,
I think this is like a gray area for all the law students, especially in their final year, because the anxiety starts catching up about placements. But so I think one key, this will take back to what I said before, even about internships. So when you're applying to, say, a tier 1, you must be very careful about where you're applying, what you're applying for, carefully craft your CV. Knock off the basics. Like, for example, don't make typos. I think it just gives an impression to the person reading your CV that you've not put in enough thought, you're not sincere. And I think don't be scared to mark the partner. They are just aware along with the HR. That's fine. But don't keep following up about your application with the partner in CC. I think that's a big no-no. That apart, I think, so what happens in tier 1s, I know for a fact that once you've applied, your CV remains in the database, and then you may not be able to apply for 6 months if you've not made it. So be very careful. Like I said, don't say if you're applying to Shardul Amarchand, don't apply arbitration and in the GC team, then it just looks funny and the partners would be confused what you like doing. So I think carefully crafting your CV is number one. Please research about the partner that you're going to be working with. And if you can add a touch of that to your application, it looks more thoughtful. It just shows you know what you're doing. Yeah, and be sincere about your application. I think, like, avoid mistakes like typos and put thought into what you're writing.
Okay. So Anahita has rejoined now. Anahita, what are the trends that you have seen in the last 5 years? And what do you expect to see, in the coming future? Like, what are the changes that you think?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, thank you. Finally, sorry everybody. I was suffering huge technical issues over here. Shekhar has been kind enough to help me out. I still can't start my video for some reason. So it says the host has disabled it. So let's see how it goes. With regards to the hiring trends that I will see, that let's be very honest, the entire landscape of hiring has changed since COVID days. So the economy was impacted greatly, then the economic jumped up. Then slowly and steadily as we go forward, currently what we see is the market, we have a little bit of a recession in the global world. So the corporate law, the mergers and acquisition market is a little low. But when you are looking at the AI market, you're looking at the data privacy, you're looking at IP, those are the markets that are really booming again. And thanks to AI, our data privacy and security is one field which will be doing wonders. So I would feel that, it's very economy dependent, but end of the day, law is a field which will always be in demand. And if you are, really passionate about it and you are really, working very hard and you can crack into a top tier firm, then I don't think there is ever a dearth of work. Like if you see even today, I have the privilege of working with AZB and partners, and I see my people like, being happily invested in their work, being happily busy. It's not that, there is no work-life balance or it's a crazy schedule. Yes, of course, during deal closures, it can be, but it is very, it's very timely based. It's not that it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's the situation. So yes, so before you choose, which is the field that you are looking at, I think so Disha said very well that she was first interested as a litigation, and then she started liking the corporate world, and now she's doing very well. So do as much as when you're doing your internships, talk to as many people as possible, dabble in different fields, get a flair of exactly what is it that you like to do, and then go forward, is my simple advice to all the students out there.
Okay. And how important are internships as per you, because do you look at their internship experience while hiring, or how is it? And should it be like a diverse experience, or you look at particular field experience, a particular area of experience? So how is it that while hiring, how important are internships?
I think internships are extremely important. If you see at AZB, we have been given ultra focus in our internship. We have an entire internship module that we follow, because internships are somewhere the base of what we want in our future lawyers. So it's extremely important for the kid, whoever is doing the internship, to be focused. It is just not a 1 month thing where, they get a certificate at the end. Because the first month of internship is when they work with partners and partners try and access them. It's not how much knowledge you have about the law. It is your attitude towards learning. It is your attitude towards getting work done, the ownership that you take, the thirst that you show for the love of law. So these are things that are very important that we look into our interns. So for internships, that first internship is very important. And if you really crack that, you go for a second internship, which is the assessment internship, in which if you really do well there, you give a presentation, you show the confidence, you show the passion, you show the ownership, then we offer a PPO, which is a pre-placement offer. So imagine, even before you've completed your law degree, you already have a job in hand and you've cracked it in a top tier firm. It's not based completely on your law knowledge, because you don't have that much law knowledge right now. You're not even a graduate. But how is it that you focused on it? What is the passion that you've got to work? How much ownership did you take? Have you taken the interest of going and talking to various people? Have you understood what is it that you want? So it's very, very important. That is the first part of the question. The second part, as I said, you said that would we want people to just do corporate? No, it's okay. If you want to dabble in, let's say, corporate law, then you want to dabble in litigation, you want to dabble in RE, and if I see a CV in which you've dabbled in different, but if you have written your area of interest for the internship, we surely go forward with that. Because let's be honest, until and unless you actually work, you will not know what you're passionate about. You can be passionate about because you've seen a family member doing it, you've seen a friend doing it, you've read in papers, you've read a little bit of a law, but when you're actually doing that work is when the passion comes out.
So Ananda, when is a good time to apply? Like, are there any particular months, preferable months that law students should apply to law firms, or is it like a throughout any time law students can apply for an internship?
So ideally, mostly law students, when we take, they are mostly applied during their breaks. So we have a proper internship calendar, which means we talk to the RCCs, we ask them when are their breaks, and then accordingly we offer internships for them. We give 30 days internship. Very rarely would we give a 2 months internship at a go. So basically, I would suggest that whenever you have a break from college, please apply for internships. Do as many internships as possible, because that is your building block for tomorrow. Because college education is very important, no doubt about it. But end of the day, it is your bookish knowledge. When you're actually working with your peer, you're talking to an associate, you are talking to a partner, you're understanding the ways and means things are getting done. That is when you develop the passion. So please do as many internships as possible. There is no favorable month as such. Obviously, I would say December is 1 month which I feel a little bit sad for my interns, because after 15th, 16th, let's be honest, most of the partners, most of the associates go on leave. And then how much of a work is there, but still there is no guiding force for that. So ideally, if it is a lean month, and December unfortunately is a peak month. Just now as I talk, we have around 36 interns in AZB. So, and fewer assessment interns. So I always, tell them that if you can come a little bit early, make the max use of the first 16, 20 days that you have your partners with you. So few tips and trips of the trade, but it's not that, if you come in April, you'll be a star. And if you come in November, you won't be a star. It's very, very individual dependent.
Okay. So Anahita, could you tell us little about the hiring process? And what is that apart from internships? What are the things that you look at on a CV, in a CV? So if you could just, give us some.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful question. So, let's be honest, when our partners go for campus placements or we are interviewing freshers, we know they are freshers. We know that they do not have the practical knowledge of the world. So yes, your basics. So we mostly start an interview by asking, okay, which is the field that you're most comfortable in? What is it that you are very sure about in answering? And if you, let's say, okay, yeah, this is something that I really want to talk about. If the partner is grilling you, be very, very confident and well-read about the topic you want to talk about. Your confidence, your attitude, the way you are answering, your body language, the way you enter the room. So in all these things, your non-verbal communication becomes very important. And of course, if you've said that, you are comfortable in answering about a certain topic, then be very sure that you are well-read in the topic. And please, it's very funny that, our kids tend to, sometimes undermine the experience that the partner gets on the table and tries to faff around. But he's a lawyer, end of the day, he's going to catch you. So be very clear in things that you know about. And it's absolutely okay to say very honestly that, listen, I'm not very confident about this topic, or I may need to read about it. In fact, it is appreciated that you have been honest and honest about it, and you will go and read about it. But if you say, you know what, I know everything, and then when the content that comes out is not up to the mark, is when the person loses confidence in you.
So Deepu, my next question is to you. Like when students apply, when they apply to colleges, what are the questions that they ask? Are they very curious about, getting job, or how is it? Like, are they very focused on their career or getting placement, or,
Yeah.
actually you must be getting
Yeah.
a lot of questions regarding placements. Yeah.
That's one of those most asked questions to us whenever we go and meet parents or students, and specifically parents also have this question where they would want to know that if they are spending so much of money, what is the ROI? Like I said, just a few hours before I was at the school, and there was a parent who was very curious to know about the ROI. So she was not very happy listening to the starting packages of top law firms also, and she was like, no, that is not good, I need more. But then I explained it to her that, how do things proceed from there and how promotions work. And there can be a day when these students also become partners. Then it's not package, right? It's about, they can even be named as equity partners. So then there was a kind of a joy on her face, but then I was very clear that this is a profession and all depends upon you, how you skill up and how would you make sure that your name makes the firm earn also. So that's how, you progress. Otherwise, if you just go there and want to do a 9 to 5 or a 9 to say 11 job, this is not the right profession for you. Then you should go and do something else, right? And that's something which I have also seen when I was in the corporate law, when I was working with a firm. That's exactly how we were. We were young, we had those butterflies in our stomach, and we wanted to prove ourselves to the partner, to the senior associate. And like, we are the ones who can, move mountains. And that helped us a lot also because, yeah, our target was that the partner should know our name. How would they get to know our name? Obviously through hard work. We have to do something in a meeting. We have to pull out a rabbit out of a hat and say something where they say, wow, that's one good research. So those are those skills which matter a lot, and that's exactly how we explain it to the student also. So there are law schools where they say that 100% placement guarantee, and I can't believe how can you say that, because unless and until you don't get to meet a kid, how can you say that? How and and there are so many diverse things which law students are doing. It's not just about working in a law firm. They're opening up their own, businesses. They're becoming entrepreneurs. Some of them are becoming cricket analysts. Even when they have landed up a great job, one of my students has become a cricket commentator. So there are so many other things which they are doing. So it's not something where I say that taking up law placement is something which is guaranteed, but yes, there is a personality enhancement which is guaranteed. That's how it happened with me also. And we have two ladies here who can vouch for it, and specifically with Anahita, I can tell that the way they interview students and the way they test students is it's a genius work. And I haven't seen it in any other profession where they ask you questions, not just on the basis of academics, but also people call it psychometric, but here the questions are very different. So I remember something from our placement time. It was not me who was involved, but two of my friends who were involved, where the HR personnel asked one of them that who's your best friend. So he said, this guy is my best friend. And then they said, okay, tell me one secret of his. So I don't know what happened. This guy said, okay, we do this. And he said, okay, all okay. And then when the other guy came in, the same question was asked to him. Okay, tell me one secret of his. And that guy said, I cannot tell because he's a good friend. And then they said, see, this is how we test confidentiality, that how can you keep secrets? And you won't believe it, at the at the end of it, when they came and they gave this speech, they picked up these two and they said, you see, this is how we test. And this is one lesson for all of you that, being a lawyer, it's just something which you might not have even thought about, but we want to give you a lesson that, relationships with our client, or even with what you have with your friends, you should know what the term confidentiality means. So that's my question to both of you, that when a student comes to you and he's an intern with Disha, or else he's seeking an internship or a job with Anahita, how do you guys test these things, and what value these things have more than marks? Because ethics and confidentiality and how to deal with clients, these are something which you would be testing, right? So how do you do that? And I'm 100% sure our audience also wants to know that. What are those questions, and what are some instances which you guys have? So
Should I go first, Disha?
yeah, please.
So ideally with interns, unfortunately, when we get them on board, we don't really do an interview, but we see the CV, and we most importantly see the co-curriculars. For us, co-curriculars are very important. How many moods the child has gone through? What are the, any debate competitions the person has been into? What is it that the child has actually done other than, getting the best internships in this world or getting the best CGPA in this world? What else has the child done other than your studies? Those are the certain weightages and bases that we do. But once the child comes in, that 1 month, the first 1 month, we keep on meeting the kids. We keep on talking to them. We keep on asking them that, they said, I didn't get any work yesterday. I said, what did you do when you didn't get work? We just, we waited for half an hour, 1 hour. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, we spoke to 2-3 partners, and then we asked them, requested them And then we just requested for asked if we could go early. And at that time you start thinking, okay, because the first day when I meet you and I tell you that for some reason your partner or your buddy is absent and you don't have work, we have a group, WhatsApp group. You need to put it on the group that you have some free hours, and we find work from any partner, any world, and we give it to you. So did you do that? So that shows how enthusiastic the child is, how interested the child is in getting the internship done. Second thing is also, let's say if the child has, many a times I am getting a lot of, so absolutely everybody falls ill. That's absolutely fine. But, if it's on a repetitive basis and if it is a Friday and a Monday, then, you start thinking, are you really interested in doing what you are doing? Is this the career for you? Then, when we are having huddles, we have a lot of huddles. We have a lot of KM sessions. How involved the child is when they are doing the KM sessions, when they are seeking knowledge about it, when they are talking. Every intern on his or her last day meets Zia. Zia sits and talks to everybody. And you can imagine every month we have 30, 35 interns, and Zia talks to each and every one of them. And she also makes notes basis on what sort of a question was asked, what was the reply that was given. So at every point in time, it is not always, because the law knowledge is very limited for them at this point in time. What else is making their personality is what we, try and identify. And of course, then the job fit, because every organization has a certain culture. So do you fit into my culture or not? These are the points that we really focus on.
Tisha, would you like to add something?
I'll just add on to what Anahita said. I think I'm just like thinking of my days of internship and how I would chill and go back home. But yeah, no, but so my experience is slightly different because I get to work with people, say on field, like it's me giving work and I get direct feedback and I get to see work. So I think I have that advantage of directly seeing what people do. But of course, I mean, you can't expect interns to be giving A-class work or, unreviewed work going out. That never happens. But few things that we look at interns and the sort of qualities are that when you're an associate, and it's the hard reality or the truth that you're doing the grunt work the first 2 years. You're not getting exciting negotiation and drafting work in the first year. So you start with, say, your due diligences, you start with reading, you start with proofing, you start with research, which might seem very boring. And out of context, these things do seem boring. But but it's very important because that's what builds your foundation. So what we look at is the willingness to put in the hours. That I think is super important. The second thing is sincerity, that, I don't know this or I don't know how to do this. Can you tell me how to do this? That's important. Instead of, say, if I've given a deadline and I'm asking you half an hour before that, listen, where are you? How long have you've taken quite a bit. What's the status? And then if you come and tell me something like, listen, I'm sorry, I was just trying to figure it out since the last 4 hours. That doesn't work, right? Like that shows you haven't really put in effort to actually get the work done. So it's very important to be prompt, on your feet, stuff like that. And I think the two most important qualities that we would look in an associate would be the willingness to put in the hours and sincerity, the willingness to learn. I think those are the two big ticks, and thereafter everyone fits in somewhere or the other. Nuances, of course, Anahita would cover, but yeah, I think these are two basic things.
Yeah, Disha has very rightly put in that's exactly, the willingness. How willing are you to, work? How willing are you to learn? These are the basic things that, we really look at. And also, let's say with regards to, like Disha very rightly pointed out right now, that many a times our kids feel that, oh, this is such boring work. How is it added value to what I've done? So I have a very nice example. We had a litigation team member, intern. So, the first 1 week they were writing dates. So they came and told, I don't do anything. I just keep on writing dates. And then that child had the chance to talk to Zia. And then Zia said, do you know what I did in my starting years? I exactly did that. And do you know how important it is? Because then the child had to go and visit a council, because we take our interns also for senior council visits. So when they went and met the council, and that every time the date and the document was asked, the guy was so confident to give it. And he said, now I've realized the importance of how important it is to date a document. And Zia, when you go to Zia with anything, she will not touch the document until and unless the date is given. Even if I go with an employee engagement plan, she will look at the document and she'll give it to me. It's incomplete. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't write today's date. So that's how important, and that is how it is in the DNA of all of us, be it lawyer, non-lawyer, how important dating documents are. So these are the small things that, you learn and you actually realize the importance of it.
Great. One more question I have, just, I meet a lot of students and they generally ask that, they go with this, that, okay, law firms are all about work. We work a lot. And, there are so many things which happen in law firm where we have to work till the next day, morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we're working. But they often ask me also something about, this is not just about no work. This is, we have HR also here and we have a senior associate here. So from both the sides, what all is the fun part of working in a great law firm of India, So they've heard about parties, they've heard about trips with the law firms take them. So I think we've scared them enough, the attendees. Let's also tell them the fun part of it also.
If I may go, I think Disha should take this question first, being a lawyer, and then as an HR, I'll just butter it up.
Yeah. Okay.
I think in law firms, people are, it's true that, like I mentioned, right, the first few years are difficult. I mean, and also, I see my partner putting in the long hours as well, so I have nothing to complain. It is difficult, but, you also realize that money is not your only motivator. When you're working in law firms, you have to like the work. You can't it's not like, oh, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll think of money and that's why I'm pushing myself to go to work. That doesn't happen. So that's number one. But the perks that come with it, and these are things I personally enjoy. For example, I recently worked on a really a big deal. So where JSW has acquired Morris Garages, I worked on that deal, and when I saw my name in papers, I was like, wow, this is what I'm a lawyer for. Or when you're a litigator and you make, into the big cases, and with the senior counsel, your names are appearing. I think that is a huge motivator for me. I personally love that. But that apart, I think on the social front, we get to meet. I've met Harish Salve and I've met all these big shot lawyers. We've briefed them. So those are again motivators for me, that you're meeting the leading legal luminaries of different walks of life. Yeah, retreats are, AZB is famous for their great retreats every year in Goa. We hear stories, but yeah, I think Sam also takes us on great retreats. Yeah. They're fun. You get to know your colleagues better even outside work. I think that's also very important. When you're working the long hours, you can't work with people you hate or you don't know. So that's nice. And yeah, we do these team building exercises. I think the other fun part with my job is I've in the last year, I got to travel to Singapore for 2 weeks for an arbitration. I think that was a great motivation for me. And yeah, we've represented so many celebrities. I think those are motivations if you work at the big firms.
I think Disha has covered all the flaws and all the fluff that happens in the legal world. And a little more, I would say that, so let's be honest, if you see my 19 years journey, I have worked with Circle Global Services, Royal Bank of Scotland, Mott MacDonald, and now legal. So I have worked in all industries, okay? And every industry says, I work the most. I work 15 hours a day. I work 16. Every industry says that. Be it engineers say that, bankers say that, legal people say that. But it is all in a peak and a trough situation. It is not a 24/7 thing. It is like when Disha will agree, when you're closing a big deal, or when there is work then. Otherwise, it is a pretty decent 9 to 5 job, not 9 to 5, let's say, because people mostly come in late. You come in by 10, go by 7, 7:30. So it's a decent 9, 10-hour day every day. It is not a 16-hour day every day. Let me be honest, when I came to AZB has this talk in the market that we either chain people or we make people sit overnight. But unfortunately, I have not got anything of that sort. I was waiting for something like that to come in so I could put my HR skills at play, but nothing has come up till now for that. So keeping that aside, yes, we do a lot of employee engagement now, be it sustainability, be it your World AIDS Day that came up, be it, partying with each other, group parties, retreats, because whenever there is a major deal close happen, then everybody is ecstatic and they go out. And I think the litigation team has the max fun because they sit back in the night and they go in that Buche Ka Khao Gali and have chai and pizza every other day. And so along with so much work, there is also a lot of fun. And what Disha also rightly pointed out, that you have to actually love the job, because only then you'll be able to carry through on a difficult day. Otherwise, it can overwhelm you. And it's very true that when I joined AZB, I had two first years who just completed a year in AZB came with their resignation. So I got scared. I said, oh my God, what happened only in 1 year? Law is not the field for me. I said, what? No, I think I really can't do that. I'm going to take a 2 months break to think exactly what is it that I want. And I lost a heartbeat at that time. I'm like, you've spent 5 years studying the subject, and 1 year in your journey, you're saying, boss, this is not the field for me. And that is where also internships are very important. Because if you really do it well, you understand whether the field is for you or not. A law field is not for everybody. Even let's say any field. Now, let's say if I'm an HR, but I don't have the patience and I don't have, let's say, the positive attitude to wipe people's tears every other day, then I cannot be an HR. So every field has certain characteristics that you need. And as long as you can identify and you can be happy with them, then that is the field for you. If you think, no, I can't do this in the long run, then rethink your options is what I would request you all.
Yeah, I think Disha and Anahita has now clearly told us, like, interns, when they're interning with law firms, there is definitely, work-life balance is there, and they get to learn many things and also understand the culture of the law firms. So that's very good. So, Deepu, are we going to take any questions here?
Yeah, there are few questions which I have just gone through. We cannot take the whole because of paucity of time, because we have two very super busy ladies with us, and we have to honor their time also. So yeah, there is this one question which I found very interesting, and I think both of you are well equipped to answer the same. The question was that what is a daily life of a corporate lawyer? What all are the works which a person would do, and what does it take to become a partner from, say, from the moment you get to become a part of the firm? What all are the virtues needed to reach that pedestal?
Should I start?
Yeah, Disha, sure.
Okay. So I think I mean, I'm not sure if I can cover that in a short span, but to put it in short, I think when you start as an associate, like I said, you're doing stuff which is a little more rudimentary. You're starting with, say, due diligences, you're starting with proofing, you're starting with research. And then when you gain the confidence, when you gain the credibility, you move to the next part. Then say you become a senior associate, then you start doing negotiations, then you start doing transactions. So basically when you move from a junior to say a partner, it's not like you're not doing the grunt work even when you're a partner. You just have people supporting you, but you still have to check because you have your name on the work which goes out to the client. But your role keeps expanding, and from, say, physical work, or say doing more basic work, you move on to doing more strategy based work as you become a partner. So today my partner would do everything today, but say even a due diligence, he would review carefully. He would look at every line of an agreement, and he would point out mistakes that even I would miss, say, from an associate. And so it never gets easy, but what you need to know, say, to answer your question, what goes in the life of a corporate lawyer on a typical day is that you would see varied matters. You would see a share purchase agreement, you would see a shareholders agreement, you would see different sectors. You would look at a lot of research. And it's very important to keep yourself updated through these KM sessions, as Anayata pointed out, with the legal updates that come through, so you can actually apply and then be ahead of the curve, because then you're aware of what you're doing, you know what exactly the situation is. So yeah. And to become a partner, I think it takes for a person who's started out in, say, a tier 1 firm or like a law firm and would be a partner in the same firm, it would typically take you 7 to 10 years to become a partner, but it will be 10 difficult years. And those years will shape you up who you are as a person. It will change your perspective towards life and towards work. And I think everyone slowly just learns to balance it out. So I wouldn't say there's work-life balance. I think it's a lot of work and a little bit of life, but then you learn how to strike the balance.
Yeah, so I'll just get a little bit positivity to what Disha said, that yes, a lot of work, but then that is there in every field. Like today, when you grow from being an associate, let's say not in a law firm, but from an entry-level candidate, then you become a manager, a senior manager, then you head a department. There is always the transition that happens. But one of the most important things, let's be very clear, as a partner or as a senior associate, even Disha will agree with me, that your leadership skills start mattering a lot. Your people skills will matter the most, because a leader is as successful as his or her team. That is the mantra that we all go by. So when you are an associate, you are an individual contributor. You've got the work, you're responsible for your work, and you give the work. But then when you become a senior associate, you're responsible for the associate. And if they are not doing work in the correct manner or at the timeline, your work is suffering. So how is it that you motivate them to give you the work better? Then you become a partner, you're managing more egos. Then you are managing the ego of the managing partner, you're managing the ego of your team, and you're managing the entire workplace. So your patience, your negotiation skills with your team, not with the clients, the leadership skills, all this matter a lot, because for you to be successful as a partner, you need a strong team, because you cannot do all the work at that time on your own. You cannot close the matter start to finish on your own. You can always give inputs, you can always work in certain pockets, but you cannot do the entire thing. So those are the qualities of a leader which a successful partner needs to have. And that is the reason why it's a 7 to 10 year journey to become a partner. It's never the work, because by that time in 7 years, you're technically very strong. But why is it that you will become a partner? Because these are the skills that will take you to the next level to become one.
Yeah, so few more questions before we wind up. One of those is a question which we find a lot and we do answer, but coming from you, I think it's going to have more authority. There are students who ask us, is there any preference for BCom LLB students or a BBA LLB student or a BLLB student when they apply? So, do you have those things in your mind that, okay, if a BBA LLB student comes, I'm going to put him into this internship. If a BCom LLB student comes, I'm going to put him into this pocket. So, I know the answer, but, coming from you, I think this question can be best answered by Anahita, because I'm 100% sure you're dealing with this day in, day out.
No, honestly, I don't think we give value to that. We have certain very clear criteria what we are giving value to. The college that you come from, the co-curriculars that you've done, the CGPAs that you've done, the moods that you've done, because that defines the personality of you. And let's say you've not even come from a top tier college, but you have these personalities and you're proving your mettle to me, then yes, the doors are open. So it's extremely important of how is it the confidence that you have in your content, the way you portray that confidence. And of course, it's not only fact, you actually do the work.
Yeah. Thanks for, reaffirming that, because we keep saying this to parents also, that whatever degree you take, at the end of it, you become a lawyer. You will be called as a lawyer. It's just a degree nomenclature which is being used. Moving on further, repeated questions, but then there is someone who's asking me that when internships happen and when a student is coming there, you have already answered that. will there be a help given to a student to settle and understand, or are they expected to learn from the law school everything and then come and just deliver everything?
Whoever's asked that question, telling you it's absolutely fine. But as I said, and I repeated, that when you come, we all know that you have either been a second year or a third year law student. And we all know the curriculum that you've done. So we don't expect you to come and say, okay, I'm a pro and I'm going to get everything sorted. So ideally, the first day is we pamper you, we take care of you, we put you in your group, then your partner meets you, says, okay, which are the areas of the, of law that you are interested in? Okay, this is this matter that comes out. We actually sit and we have a buddy for each intern. Your buddy sits and explains you what the matter is, what has happened till now, what is your help needed in this 1 month, how much they think that the matter is going to progress, and what all you may need to do. Of course, it's not like scripted and it will happen accordingly, but this is the entire base that is given. And then they are introduced, and then most questions are asked. And of course, the first few days we see a little bit the kids not being very sure, so they keep on going back for asking feedback. But in a week to 10 days, it is a streamline. And by day 20, 25, they are like, pretty well adjusted to the entire system.
So final question to both of you. This is by attendee, and she's asking, is corporate law the right field for someone who's quiet and more of an introvert, but is very diligent, meticulous, great at attention to detail, and of course, willing to put in the hard work? Would you prefer, as asking, as in recommending them to become a corporate lawyer?
I think if you have an eye for detail, attention, and hardworking, you don't, corporate law is not that you have to go and scream at everybody. And sometimes it's absolutely okay. Like I have few very good counsels in my, in AZB, who know their scope of work, who are excellent in research, who are excellent in, getting their work done, what is expected, but then they're not very confident. So then we manage that with having a person who is all there. So then they form a team, because we don't need all superstars. Always remember, for a successful team, you need a leader, you need an implementer, you need a follower, and you need a batsman. So everybody makes a great team. So I don't really think that if you're very quiet, you cannot be a corporate lawyer. Disha can answer this in her experience also.
Yeah, I think I agree with you completely, Anahita. But also, like, I think the question comes from a point of view, if I'm not wrong, that, litigation requires a lot of talking. So introverts must clearly choose corporate. It's not so. Corporate law, just by the way, also involves a lot of talking when you're negotiating with your counsel. It's just that it's not in a code of law, but you're talking to your opposite counsel and negotiating clauses you want in your agreement. So that also has about, you're in a room full of 20 people and you're doing the same thing. So it's not like corporate law equals introverts welcome. But yes, of course, like Anahita said, a team is usually a mix. Like, for example, I mean, given that I love litigation, I love to hear myself speak. So I think speakers in my team would be a lot of people who are not comfortable speaking, but are building on it. I think generally in law, being able to build on your speaking skill is sort of important. People skill, like Anayat also pointed out, is very important. But I think, like, while you're in corporate law, yes, it's true that you don't have to face the, say, court every day. It's slightly more comfortable. You don't negotiate every day. But yeah, I think there's a place for everyone in every team. Even if you want to do litigation and you're an introvert, I think that's completely fine, because a lot of, say, if you're not a counsel but a solicitor, you're doing most of the drafting and briefing and
Right.
so that's fine. I mean, you don't really have to be an extrovert to be in the field of law.
True. Over to you, Chetna. These were the questions I think we can take given the paucity of time. Now the house is all yours.
Okay, great, wonderful. So I would like to thank our esteemed speakers for enlightening the students for career in corporate law. These valuable insights will help them to make an informed decision about their career path. Thank you one and all for attending it. Hoping to see you next semester with us and building your exciting career in law. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
A big thank you to each one of you. And we are blessed to have your company. And I'm 100% sure all the students who attended have benefited a lot. We have already started getting a lot of thank you, chat messages, etc. And thank you so much for investing your time with us.
Thank you so much, and I wish all the very best to all you students. I'm sure you guys are going to have a wonderful career in whichever field you wish to have. All the very best.
Thank you. For all the attendees who are asking for recording, we'll share it. Don't worry, we'll edit it and then we'll share it. Okay? Don't worry.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All the best, everyone. Bye.